Today is 7th of October, Monday, is the Mahapanchami of the Navratri, and here we are in front of the Moriri lake in Ladakh. Moriri has a specialty among all the lakes in Ladakh Union Territory. Moriri is located some 160 kilometers odd distance from the city of Leh. In the Tibetan language, So means lake and Moriri stands for mountain. So here you can see, if I'm going to decipher the meaning of Moriri, stands for a lake amongst mountain ranges. You can see an idyllic beauty of the lake. Its beauty is comparable with that of the Pangong So lake. This particular lake doesn't have the high dimension as compared to the Pangong lake. However, it has its own specialty and actually stands out among all the other lakes in the Ladakh district. For example, Pangong So is located at an altitude of 13.8k feet above the sea level, whereas the Moriri lake is located at an astounding altitude of 15.1k feet. In this particular regard, as you can see over here, the Moriri actually enjoys a higher altitude as compared to the Pangong So lake. And one more thing, what I think this particular Moriri lake is actually, better and more favorable for the Indian country is that the entire lake is within the Indian territory. Here, in place, the Pangong So lake is located in the Akshay Chin, which is not a part of the Indian territory because of the Chinese occupancy during the 1962 Sino-Indian War. Hence, you must take some time to visit this wonderful lake situated in the Chamathing Plateau. So, just to give you some few information, Chamathing Plateau is one of the obscure large plateau. You can call it as a little brother of the Pamir Plateau that extends over the Tibetan highland. And this particular plateau is said to have been originated from the Tethys Himalayas. You can see the pristine beauty of the Moriri lake. It has all the hues of the color, starting from the ultramarine blue at the initial stage to the cobalt blue in the next stage, and then finally in the third tier you have the Prussian blue, and that has been bordered by the mountainous terrain with the topography of the land being earmarked by the snowy mountain tops. It's been a warm sunny morning. I won't call it to be a warm because the temperature is hovering somewhere around 4 to 5 degrees centigrade. I'm talking about the current temperature. Despite the sun that you are going to see over here, you can hear the sweet sound of the ripple of the water. And if you take a closer look, you are going to find the pebbles underneath the lake that talks about the transparency of this particular lake. And you can see at least 10 meters away from here what is underneath within this particular lake. Compared to the Pangong So lake, which actually has a harsh climate, Moriri lake is home to multiple group of flora and fauna. It has a large section of the migratory birds that comes from Siberia in this particular terrain. There are birds that come from the Manas Sarovar lake in the Tibet area, which is currently occupied by China, towards this particular lake. You can see there is a bit of a slope from my right to the left side because the water is actually coming and flowing towards my left side due to the gradient of the topography, and that's actually is apt for the naming convention of the lake, which stands for the lake amongst the mountains. Somori has also one more specialty. It's an endoheric lake, which means that it acts as a natural sink for all the river bodies and water bodies nearby. That means you do not have any river or rivulet or brook or even a small stream that originates from this particular lake. This lake is all natural by itself. It doesn't serve as a source of any of the river in this particular region, whereas the Pangong Tso Lake is the source of multiple other rivers like the Galwan, and then there are few other source stream of the Nubra and the Shiok River. It's a great pleasure to present you this idyllic landscape. It's a heavenly beauty, because if you just take a short pause in this particular video and then magnify towards the center, you will be surprised to see the pebbles and the topography inside the lake that stands for the great pristine glory of the Moriri lake. It's not a full moon night tonight because it's the 5th day of the Navratri. That means the 6th day after the completion of the Mahalaya, the full moon, the new moon night. Hence, staying here overnight might not be a good choice, because the temperature is going to come down drastically when the afternoon time comes. But you are surely going to enjoy the beauty of this particular lake. Let me take a step higher towards a more elevated region so that I can show you the topography here. This Somori lake has a very deserted look as compared to the Pangong Tso lake, because I guess Somori doesn't give you the luxury of the accommodations and the other facilities, whereas the Pangong Tso has lot of eco-friendly resort and hotels. I mean, we cannot call them as hotel, but it's like a more temporary tent accommodation per se. This entire lake has a max length of 26 kilometer in terms of the length dimension, and in terms of the width, at some point its width will stretch somewhere over 8 kilometers. On the way from Leh to this beautiful Somori lake, we came across the Indus River in all its might. The Indus River is the longest river in India, but technically Ganga is the longest river in India, because this Indus is flowing a major part of its river basin through the Tibetan highland and also the POK region before finally falling into the Arabian Sea. Also, we crossed some of the springs, and around 20 kilometers from here you are going to see the Kyagar Tso Lake. Kyagar Tso Lake is also a very small lake, but its beauty is, comparable to the Somori lake here. Hope you had a good view and a pleasant experience of the Somori lake. And you can see to my right side how this particular water body is spanning towards the right before meandering its way through some of the mountain peaks in the Chamathang Plateau. And lest we forget, we are at an altitude of 15.1k feet, That means this particular region might actually be sometimes a bit problematic for the oxygen level in your body, so do not forget to carry your oximeter here, and also take some precaution before heading towards the Moriri Lake. The Moriri Lake also has one more specialty. Stands for the Chamatang Plateau that's there. It's one of the lesser known Himalayas in the Tethys Himalayas. There is a myth that during the initial formation of the geographic and the oceanic plates, the Tethys Himalayas went from the middle and the greater Himalayas, and this particular lake was originated from the snow-melt glaciers that are adjoining to this particular area. However, you cannot spot any of the rivers that originate from here, because I just reminded you it's an intradic lake. That means it's acting more like a sink for all the water bodies, whereas the Pangong Tso is more like an outlet for multiple rivers that originate from there. However, in terms of the beauty and the accessibility, and I guess the roadway also from Leh, I think Moriri has the edge over the Pangong Tso Lake. Hope you had a good time with me. Goodbye and Jai Hind.